Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's podcast at We Eat Fish Eat, in the studio with the one and only Hunter the Flanders. I got a new job. He's going to be moving on down the road. What is shaking Hunter Flanders?
Freaking bring the hammer right off the bat.
Well, I mean, if you're going to start the podcast up, you well as well open it up with the biggest news on the planet, right?
You think that kind of news would be on CNN or Fox?
Well, I tell you what, it'd be better than anything that's on any of them stations for sure. I'm glad I don't watch that hokey pokey garbage, you know. I'd rather watch something and listen to something that I actually believe in. And I wonder how many people out there really believe in what they see on a lot of these news stations, you know. I don't know. I tend not to watch any of that stuff, so because I don't want to, clog my brain up with a bunch of hokey pokey bullshit.
Plaque?
Like plaque, the shit that's on your teeth?
Yeah,
that kind of plaque, huh?
Yeah, it plaques your brain. That's
plaques your brain for sure.
Good name for it.
Hey, well, we'll get into a little bit later about your new adventure that you're going to be taking. But for right now, boy, you got a lot of things going on in your life. You obviously bought a warrior boat, or your mom bought you a warrior boat, right? You obviously got married, a year and a half ago now, and you got a dog. Arlo, cool dog. I love dogs, man. I love dogs. And there's just a lot of things.
Bought a house.
Bought a house. Yep, that's a huge thing. Thomas was saying the other day about buying a house, how nerve-wracking it is, and I had to kind of stop and think about it. Yeah, I was a nervous wreck when I bought my first house and my second house.
Why?
Just because, obviously it puts a lot of strain on you because it's a big commitment. It's kind of like getting married. And that's really what our podcast is going to be about this week. We're going to talk about this quite a bit. We're going to be doing a live podcast, and that is going to be on May 31st. So at 5 o'clock, live podcast. So if you guys want to interact with us on this live podcast.
Yes.
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube.
Okay, yep. So the live podcast is going to be on YouTube,
yeah, you
right?
can comment and stuff right on YouTube.
Okay, well, that sounds good. So we really want people to interact with that. But we're going to talk today about relationships. We've talked about politics enough. We talked about religion. We talk about fishing, hunting all the time. There's a lot of subjects that we talk about, and that's really what the podcast is about. I hate it when people say, you're a hunting and fishing show. Yeah, well, this isn't the show. This is a podcast. The show is called Larry Smith Outdoors, and this is called We Eat Fish Eat, and we talk about everything and anything. And I love the podcast. That's one thing I would definitely give Hunter. A lot of things I got to give him kudos on, but the podcast is one of my favorite things. And this is the thing I want to talk about. We talked about.
This has been on your mind, and we've been talking about this in the truck a lot.
Right, it's relationships. So I've been married, going on 32 years, and I am struggling with this. I've got most of my friends are all divorced, and which is a very sad thing. Obviously, Hunter, your mom and dad are divorced, right? My mom and dad were divorced. That's how I got put into a foster home, and it happens a lot. But, the people that we do a lot of things with, we really only have a few people that we film with that aren't divorced.
In the outdoor industry, we've always said that it's amazing the people that we work with, that a lot of them are divorced or single.
Yeah.
The outdoors puts a huge strain on relationships.
It certainly does. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we definitely want everybody to comment on this because let's just kind of, I'm going to put myself on the line here today on this
Climb out on the limb.
Right. I'm going to be on a very, very skinny little limb. And I'm gaining some weight every time I talk. I can tell you that. So I've been married 32 years. Now, here's the deal. The last 10, 12 years, 15 years, my wife wants absolutely zero to do with hunting or fishing, right? And, I think it's really, it's a tough deal. I mean, when you are so passionate about your hobby, your work, the things you do, your addiction, it really makes it tough that my wife does not want to participate in the things that I love to do. And I know a lot of women out there, or maybe some guys too, are saying, well, hey, dude, why don't you do some stuff that she wants to do? And then maybe she'll do some stuff you want to do.
A little give and take.
Give and take, yep. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing something here, is that I'm willing to give a little bit, but she does not want to take at all, right? So it's been a kind of a tough battle, you know? So I guess I don't know what to do.
Well,
right?
we talk about this, and what I like to call it is honeypotting.
You got to say that one more time.
Honeypotting.
Honey potting.
The old honey pot.
Oh, honey pot.
Right.
Honey pot. Okay. Well, explain that to me a little bit.
We've talked about this many times. Why is it when you first start out in the relationship, they want to do everything with you?
Yeah, and I got to interrupt you on that because
I know you're going to jump on that.
I'm going to jump on it because I am ADHD and things run through my mind and all of a sudden they're gone. So when I met my wife, she was going to college here in Oshkosh, and she was working at Lang Oil on Main Street. And, she was basically putting herself through school. Her parents helped her out as much as she could. She has the greatest parents of all time. Like, her parents are, I've said this probably before. I apologize for repeating things. But her parents have always been more of a parent to me than my own. So, anyways, great parents, So, anyways, so she's putting herself through college here. She went to school for criminal justice. And it's a good thing she doesn't listen to this podcast, so I don't have to worry about.
I think she might hear about this one.
Right, you never know. But anyway, so you know what? I was that guy that always had multiple jobs and always was working a lot, but always every second I could get, I was either hunting or fishing. So she's going to school, so obviously she would come over all the time, and I would cook her meals, cook her fish. We went fishing together. As the relationship evolved, she started going duck hunting with me a little bit. She deer hunted with me. I mean, a lot of great stories about all this stuff. But once the kids start coming, and you know what, then all of a sudden this stuff just kind of slowly, gradually disappeared. And now it's kind of one of the things where, there's some resentment there. Like, she will not go fishing or hunting with me. And I am really struggling with this because of how much I enjoy doing what I love to do. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough deal. But, and we're bringing this up, I'm going to let you take it because I know you're building here, is that I'm not the only one. There is a flood of guys out there that are in this same situation, and maybe there's some women out there that are crazy about fishing and hunting too, and maybe their spouse doesn't like to do it, you know? So how do you keep a relationship going when you're in this situation?
Well, going back to the old honeypotting, I feel like this happens a lot, like the woman or the man you meet, you do a bunch of stuff together, and then like you said, the relationship evolves. You start doing less and less of those things together. The things that you were willing to do, even though you didn't enjoy them. You know, I'm trying to think of an example. Cassidy took me ice skating. Want to go ice skating? I am not an ice skater. Okay, you can imagine how many times
I've never seen a stork with ice skates on.
Yes, it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
So I don't really go ice skating with her anymore. It's not a very good thing. Cassidy, she gets cold easy. Not very patient. When it comes to the outdoors. So hunting and fishing is not really her gig. I think since in the last probably 8 years since we've been, since in the 11 years since we've been together.
You better get them dates right.
Yes, 11 years we've been together. I would say in the last 11 years we probably have gone hunting together. We went turkey hunting twice, deer hunting once, ice fishing 3 times, and turkey hunting once, unless I repeated myself. Squirrel hunting once too.
Okay.
So, huh?
Oh, and magnet fishing.
Magnet fishing, yes. We did go magnet fishing.
So what's the total on that?
So I'm going to say less than my 2 hands combined.
So that's 10, right?
Yeah, less than 10
fingers
times.
on
if your math is correct.
Right.
So I would say that, it's tough because, as passionate outdoorsmen that we are, it really consumes a large part of our life. And sometimes it's hard for your spouse to accept that. And something we've talked about and something I want to hear you guys about, I feel like a lot of times the person that you're with thinks that they can change you, change your interest. adapt, grow, and I have no problem with that. Adapting, things change. Hey, you have kids. Hey, you got more responsibilities.
Right, you go down on the priority list. Every child you have, you go down. You know, right now you're number. Well,
I'm
you have
number
a dog.
2 in my house.
Yeah, because Arlo's number 1.
Arlo's number 1.
Yep.
But I would say that, you know, as their priorities change, your priorities of hunting and fishing have to change as well. But, you know, like I've told Cassidy, like, because sometimes she gets upset with me how much I want to hunt and fish, and her whole family and everybody knows that who knows us. I do go a lot, and I do push the envelope, I do believe. And she puts up with a lot. I'm going to give her credit first for going in on it.
Yeah.
She puts up with a lot of stuff.
But she's young, too, right? She does put up with a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
yes,
she's
I'm very lucky.
Beautiful, great woman, for sure.
I'm very lucky. But I feel like they try to tone it back, and it's like, hey, you knew what you're signing up for before we got married. You've been with me a long time. I love to hunt and fish. I hopefully that never changes for me, and I hope that I can still continue to pursue the passions that I have now.
All right.
And it would be nice if they would come along and get to see that, you know, and enjoy the things that I enjoy. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to take them. Like, for example, with you, Larry, you're nuts, dude. I mean, I've been with you on some stuff that I would not want to take anybody on. We've been through some shit where we've been sitting in there all day, cold, wet, you name it, all day.
Well, and I that part I understand 100%. I do take things to the extreme, but I would not put my wife through that situation.
Well, you put me through it, damn it. My wife always says that I spend more time with Larry than I do with her.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together. You know, that's you know, and we'll talk about that later on because you're going to be obviously divorcing me and moving on. but here let's keep on this
the relationship thing. So how are you gonna go try to change that? Like my thing. So I got the Warrior, you know.
Yep.
And Cassie loves being on the boat. She loves lakes. Love being on the water. So my angle with this whole boat thing is she doesn't have to fish.
Well, I have no problem.
No problem.
With that.
She can come out. She loves to read. Come out in the boat, read. I'll bring Aro along. I'll fish. You read. And I'm hoping, I think she'll do that. We've done that in the last couple of years, for sure. So that's kind of my angle. You know, I built this new deer blind. I think hopefully I can get her out there for an afternoon with the heater and whatnot and just enjoy nature. Cassie does love animals, and that's what that really bothers me because she doesn't like to hunt or fish really, but she loves nature.
Right.
She likes to hike and stuff. And I always tell her the only reason I'm hiking is I'm hiking for a deer or a turkey or something.
Right.
You know? That makes her mad. But I love nature. And I know you got something in your mind, so you
No, I'm just kind of taking this all in, thinking about, you know, your situation you have going there. You're young and stuff, and you know, when you get to be a little bit older, when you're younger, I think you're a lot more tolerant because obviously, and I'm just going to be straight and forward with everybody. You know, when you're a guy, when you're younger, sex is a huge part of a relationship, right? And you're a lot more tolerant as far as putting up with things that your spouse would. You don't want to. Let's just put it this way. You know what? When you come home and you got 4 kids and your wife is all ticked off at you because your kids did something wrong, you know that. You know what? She's all worked up. The chances of you
getting lucky
are not very good, and you're pissed at the kids for that. Not so much because they took the tractor and drove through the damn barn, right? It's more that, you know what, they got your wife all worked up, and now it's going to be a couple days before obviously you get lucky. And you know, here's the deal, folks. When you get a little bit older, that's not as important to you, that part about getting lucky. But on the flip side of it, it actually can be a little dangerous because you are letting things slide a little bit more than you would normally let slide, you know?
Well, you were just telling me that to you, we were driving in the UTV up at the land. You're like, you know, you were saying that, you know, getting lucky, all that stuff's not as important to you, but it's the quality time.
It is.
And that's something my wife really wants is quality time.
Right.
Know? And I do like quality time, but I'm saying, you know, like in your age, you know, you've gone through all these things in your life together, kids, ups and downs of marriage and life,
the economy, you know, a lot, you know, being
married is crazy.
It is. There is. I mean,
think about that. You're gonna say, I always laugh at this as a comedian. You're gonna pick somebody out in the world and you say, "Yep, I'm gonna spend every day, every minute of my life with that person. That's it. You know, I'm gonna live with them." That's crazy. You're gonna pick a person that you're my person now.
And when you look at the divorce rate over, you know, 68%, obviously, lot of people are struggling with.
For more than 35 years, the MRD Group has been providing superior demolition and construction services to a diverse customer base, both locally and nationally. Be it a complex industrial plant, site demolition and closure, or a new construction facelift to an existing business, MRD provides the expertise, manpower, and quality workmanship to each and every of our clients' demands. If you have an immediate or future site need requiring environmental demolition, remediation, construction, or asset management, MRD can provide you with a turnkey solution for your business. I think there's millions of people in this world, and I think it's a lot of you pick somebody and you make it work.
Right.
Now, you're more compatible to other people than others. Out of all the people that I know, you are married and stuff, there's very few that I think that are really like, man, you guys really nailed it on the head. I think you guys really picked out the right person, really compatible. And
Are you talking about Kurt Duxbury?
Well, that's
and
one
Anna?
of them. Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah.
I mean, them two, right? There's
Lovebirds.
something, right?
But a lot of it is a lot of work and a lot of, arguments and a lot of things you have to work through. But is it worth it to you? I personally think, me and Cassidy have as many fights about little things and arguments and disagree on a lot of things, but we have both picked each other to work through that, And so whatever it is, we
gotta
have
work
to
your way through it.
A little give and take.
Right, little give and take. I would agree on that part for sure. I think it's amazing, like when when you think of over all the years that when breakups happen, like how devastated a guy or a gal is, and there's been several situations where it's been suicidal, right? So in that part, like you were just talking about a couple minutes ago about somebody thinking that this is the only person on this whole planet that that I would ever be in love with, I think that's nonsense.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
To
it
go
is.
to that extreme, right? I mean, if somebody doesn't want to be with you for some weird reason, right? Either you fish or you hunt too much or you drink too much or you fart too much or or whatever, right? I mean, I don't think that you should go to that extreme and be, obviously that bent out of shape that you're not going to find another person.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you know that you think they're really like, man, they really hit it on the head?
Jeez, I'm just thinking off my head for some reason. Duxbury is Kurt Duxbury is one of them guys where obviously, I mean, that's if you looked in the dictionary on perfect husband and wife and relationship, from what I see, of course,
Right.
it's always easier to look from the outside.
Right.
Like how many times have you honestly thought to yourself that you meet a guy and his wife and you're like, man, that guy is one lucky guy, right? Or that gal is one lucky gal.
As you get older, and I've realized this, that everybody's going through their own problems. Everybody has their own struggles. Nobody's perfect.
That's a
life
fact.
is tough for everybody. It doesn't matter how great or they may seem or the face they put on. Things happen to everybody, and everybody goes through their own things. But it's just, how do you work with the other person? Marriage is all about being like a teammate. I think
That's true.
Are you on the same team? Are you have the same goals in mind? Do you have the same, maybe interests are different for guys and girls, but like, what's your goal? Like, what's the end goal? Do you guys are on the same path?
Right. Well, and I would definitely say the grass is not greener on the other side. I mean, that
Not always.
No, that philosophy, I mean, I would say is definitely not always true, but I would also say, so let's just say, and I'm not saying I'm this way, but let's just say you're in a relationship with somebody, married, not married, and you are just both miserable. Do you think they should stay together?
Boy, I would say probably not.
Okay.
Honestly, no, probably not. I think there's a lot of variables. You get kids involved.
Right. Well, I can just tell you this: as a child from a divorced family,
was it better that your parents got divorced?
well, it was definitely better that they got divorced. But boy, I'll tell you, it took a long time to heal this heart. I mean, it was probably one of the most. I was just going on 11 years old. And it was probably one of the most devastating things that have ever happened in my life. But, the great part is it all really worked out best,
Right.
worked out best for both of my parents, worked out best for me that I got away from both of them, and obviously went into a foster home, all that kind of stuff. And, obviously turned out where I'm at now, very fortunate,
Right.
But, yeah, so, I mean, but they always say once you're married forever.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
What do you think about that situation?
I don't know. You guys, you tell us what you guys think.
I want to know that.
I don't know what to say, so you guys tell us.
And that's the whole object of today's podcast, everybody, and we are going to do this live podcast on YouTube on May 31st, and we want you guys to interact, and I want to hear your comments and your opinions on the things that we're talking about. The whole deal is to try to get more people to interact with our podcast because we're very interested in what you guys think and what you guys have to say.
And we want to talk about real life things.
And we want to talk about real life things. We don't just always want to talk about hunting and fishing, even though if you really listen to this podcast, we're still talking about hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
And again, it's so relatable when you think about this industry. Probably, I'm going to say easily 70% of the people in this industry are divorced, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Or single.
Or single, right? Or have been divorced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely something, I want to hear from people that are divorced in this industry and what they did and how do they
adapt?
How do they adapt? Do you honestly think, 100%, that you made the right choice? For sure. Yeah. And I'd love to hear from the people, the low percent, that are still married and have made it through all these different times and all these hurdles, Yeah. So.
Yeah, Cassidy always wanted to be on the podcast for a rebuttal.
Really? That'd be a good time.
Yeah, she said, you get Julie on there, too.
Well, could you imagine? I mean, maybe my wife will actually hear this podcast and she'll want to come in and defend herself and tear the living snot out of me. Here's another guy that has been in the industry that one of my first sponsors, and him and his wife Becky, Ken Grawl and Becky are married. They've got 3 boys and very religious couple, and but Ken is on the road all the time. He runs HT, and he's on the road constantly. So he's away from his wife. All the time. So, but they've made it too. So, I mean, maybe Ken Grawl would be interested in coming on the podcast too.
Kent. I was looking at a picture of Kent.
And Kent Anderson, another Kent, right?
I mean, another guy who can really. I'm from the outside looking in, boy. It sure he's got, from our perspective, a great family.
Yes, he does.
Beth is a great
woman.
Great woman.
And my super buddy.
Yeah, and Jacob. They definitely, he works hard. He's long hours on the road, and there's a lot of times where Beth has to hold down the fort while Kent's on the road.
Right.
I mean, Duck's really that. I mean, how many times has Kurt gone on hunting trips or whatnot, or even for the farm? He's out, he's got cattle all over the country. He's gone, and Anna's got to take care of 4 kids.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot to say about the women staying at home.
Right. Yeah. Super moms is what I call them, for sure. Right. I mean, because a lot of women wouldn't tolerate that kind of stuff either.
Those kind of the good old days, if you want to call them that, or the old days of women staying at home and men going to work, are slowly disappearing.
Well, and they're going to keep disappearing if this economy keeps crashing the way it is.
The price of everything keeps going up.
Right.
Childcare.
That's an amazing part when you start thinking about childcare. On an average of $600 to $800 a week. That's per child. That's a huge chunk of change, man.
It's insane.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you kind of wonder, where does it get if you want to have a big family? Obviously, your wife needs to stay at home with.
And somebody has to have a damn good job.
Somebody has to have a damn good job, and there's going to be a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
Even with a damn good job, a lot of sacrifices.
Yep, no doubt.
Yep. Oh, so so we kind of dug into this relationship thing, and we're going to definitely put the fuel back onto the fire on this when we do our live podcast on May 31st at 5 o'clock on YouTube. So you guys make sure you join us.
Well, bring me some water because I need to put out the fire.
Right. Hopefully that when we're doing this live podcast, that Cassidy and Julie don't come walking in with that look on their face.
An axe to murder us.
Right. About that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
So what else we got happening? Obviously, I was fishing on the lake all week, and the water temperature got up to almost 70. The fishing was really good. If you could find some dirty water on Winnebago, the fish were definitely stacked up there. Now we had a little cold front go through. Yesterday, The day before we had between 30 and 40 walleyes. We ended up keeping our 9. We just kept fishing and letting them go, and we waited to put that 9th one in the boat till the end. But the next day, the water temperature dropped like 3.5, 4 degrees. I myself, Lance did a lot better than I did. I myself did not have a fish in the live well till 1:30, and we started at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Saturday?
No, that was
yesterday.
That was yesterday, which would be what? Tuesday? Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Yep, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I definitely got my hinder licked this weekend, and the old Winnebago put the beating to me like she usually does. But I don't quit. I'm not quitting.
No, that's
it kind of
awesome
pisses me
part.
off, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
going to figure it out. If anything, it just it really makes you mad and wants you want to learn more.
It does. Well, in this time of year, Hunter, I would say that water temperature is key. Like, and if you can find dirty water.
Dude, that lake is so clean, it is ridiculous. You can see down 10, 12 feet. It was like last year.
Oh, yeah. Unless you have a lot of turbulence in the water, where it's super rough out there, then you have a chance of catching them fish
Or
on the
night.
shorelines. Or
Night
in
fishing
the
has been
reefs.
good, I've heard.
Yep,
Slip
or at
bobbers
night.
or whatever.
Yep, so that kind of thing. So definitely look for that. Or you got to stick in the river, which everybody else is, and obviously the water's dirty there. Or go up and fish the upper lakes
Which
where
I
they're
heard
typically
Poygan's really good.
Yep, stained too. So yeah, I mean there's always some options for sure out there. But yeah, boy, I'll tell you what we have. I don't know if anybody has noticed out there, but we have really changed the show format around a little bit. A lot more educational. We're going to keep going in that direction, not focusing on so much where we're fishing, but more how you can utilize these techniques and really breaking it down more. A lot more animation we have going into our show, so that's what we've changed on that. And you really look at our numbers, and obviously that's one of your jobs is to look at our analytics on there. And the numbers have really been going up. So obviously that's what you folks want to see more.
Response has been good.
Yeah.
Yes, the response has been good. Yeah, I think we can teach you guys a lot more. There's a lot of things that I think we overlook because there is a lot of people who don't, let's just say, know as much as somebody who's been in the industry for 31 years, been a full-time fishing guide. You have a lot of tips and tricks up your sleeve that you're willing to share. I think about the Pulling Cranks show, the 3-ways with BAC up in Marinette, and I said, how come there hasn't been more shows on this? Like, didn't know about that. Like, I don't know how to do any of that until the show. He said, I don't know. Why not? And that's why you wanted to do it. Like, I want to show people how to pull cranks for big fish.
Yeah, and that was fun. I mean, it is fun just breaking it down and a lot of things that
you're passionate about. Because I could see you like, you're into explaining this because you're like, this hasn't been done. You know? You can explain dragon crawlers and the wolf like you've done a million times, but doing a brand new thing, I mean, I could see the passion back in you. You're like, hey.
Right, breaking it down for sure. All these things that we've taken for granted for a long time, at least I have, just thinking that everybody knows how to do this. And a lot of people do, but, there's obviously you can show, the deal is that when you can go and watch people catching fish, there's a lot of shows that just show fish. But really, I mean, you can go on YouTube and see all that fish catching you want. But, there's not as many shows that obviously go through the breaking it down. Tom Boley does a real good job of breaking his stuff down, So, I mean, I like that, Tom Boley, right?
You can learn a lot.
You can.
Learn a lot. He does a really good job at explaining things.
Yeah, who else has always been like the leader in breaking it down in my era has been the Linders. Yeah, the Linder family.
They kind of got the right recipe for the show.
Yeah.
The show's more learning. Another person that we had on the podcast, Chase Parsons as well.
Oh, yeah. Next Bite does a great job of breaking
their
it down.
animations, I've always loved it.
Yeah, that's kind of what inspired us to,
get into the
animation part of it. Has
I
been
hope you guys
the
like
next
the animation gig because Greg's been busting his hiney.
He's been, and that dude is like on fire,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm gonna be if my wife listens to this podcast on fire, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to bring a fire extinguisher.
Right.
We got into one this time.
Yeah, we opened up a can of if they were worms, what kind of worms would they be? If they were ants, they'd be fire ants. But if they were worms, what kind of worms would they be?
Red worms.
Red worms. Devil worms, you're saying.
Leeches.
Oh, leeches, huh?
They'll suck the blood out of us.
Right. Hey, everybody, you know, what an awesome, awesome time it always is to have you guys listen to our podcast and be part of your life. And that's what we're really interested in, is being part of your life each and every week. We appreciate everything that you guys have done for us and do for us. We also appreciate everything all of our military men and women do for us in the past and in the present, and along with all of the firefighters, paramedics, and police officers for their great service that they give us. No doubt, as of today, we are still living in the greatest country in the world, and damn it, let's try to keep it that way. Hey, it is a great day to be alive, and we do thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice